Hey everyone, thanks for tuning in today. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Andrew Morris. I am the co-founder and COO here at Pelcro. And today we're going to be talking about AI paywalls and checkout flows. And so we're going to be doing hopefully a lot more of these videos where we discuss some of our new projects, share with you some of our updates in our existing roadmap, and kind of everything in between. So make sure you provide us with some feedback. If you ever want to get more involved in some of these projects or have any questions, you can always reach out to us at just by visiting pelcro.com or emailing me at andrew@pelcro.com. That being said, let's dive into our AI paywall and checkout discussion. So the premise really starts with personalization. So this is not new information. At this point, I think we all know that companies that excel at personalization generate more revenue than those who don't. So in this McKinsey study kind of quantifies it to see that those that excel are able to generate 40% more revenue than those that are only average. In reality, also, a lot of companies are not only average, but they're doing very minimal, if any, personalization. And that's because it's tough to do personalization. Whether you're using kind of A/B testing and running A/B tests to personalize and try different campaigns or user experiences, or you're using some kind of machine learning to produce percentage likelihood scores that you use to configure different checkout flows or user experiences. It's extremely time consuming and expensive, right? Just using those algorithms that even we produce for subscriber likelihood scores and have produced for many years now, using that's quite expensive. And not only that, you have to create all those different flows and experiences, whether you're kind of coming up with a subscriber likelihood score and then needing to do something with it, or whether you're kind of running A/B tests across the board and creating different collateral for each A/B test. And hoping kind of one of those really converts well. All of this is again really quite time consuming and expensive, and so there needs to be a way to automate this. Enter this new age of AI and its ability to automate it. So before we dive into how we automate this, we need to look at first what we need to personalize and ideally what we want to automate in the personalization. So first starts with metering, right? Or some kind of gating of your content, your articles, features, whatever it may be. Next comes promotions. So the type of promotion you're getting, the amount of discount you're getting, free trials, whatever it may be. Then comes the checkout flow. So that's being able to personalize the currency or the payment or the amount. Again, whether you're kind of targeting direct debit as an option in the UK versus instant payments and Interac in Canada or FedNow in the US. Or perhaps an ACH payment or even wire transfer for larger versus smaller amounts. Then comes data collection. More and more, we're going to start seeing higher inability to track and collect data on anonymous users, all thanks to our friends at Google and Apple that are making cookie-based access or cookie-based data a lot harder to track. And so we're going to be relying more on first-party data. Whether you're collecting registration, email addresses, or any other information that's relevant to your business for your customer, you're going to want to be able to acquire that information and perhaps give them something in exchange. Query responses. This is something we've seen for a while where customers can now, go in and have a little chatbot that's trained on a few questions that users can answer. But usually the problem is this is very disconnected from the checkout flow and experience. And so customers can be kind of jolted away from that checkout experience or delayed because they need to go find another chat or read the FAQs to get some data to make a purchase. So integrating that and personalizing these, again, responses based on the user or their purchase or whatever it may be. And then one of my personal favorites is time shifting calls to action. So this is to avoid kind of what we call paywall fatigue or form fatigue or promotion fatigue, which basically is users getting tired of seeing the same kind of calls to action again and again. This makes it so that we're constantly shifting or changing the call to action on an ongoing basis. We'll also talk about how some companies like Netflix have been also using this, and you've probably experienced it in your viewing experience. So let's talk a little bit more about how things are working right now and what advancements are happening in AI that allow us to do to automate this entire flow. So right now, taking a paywall and checkout experience for article-based access, this is what we call the static paywall. You have a number of free articles. If you're a little bit more advanced, you can ask for an email or newsletter sign up in exchange for an additional free article. And then you have a discount or a promotion like a 5% discount, let's say. Now, this is usually great to do, relatively easy to set up. You don't need to track a lot of data on conversions and comparability and all of that, but you're leaving a lot of people out of this. You're not sure if 3 free articles is the best amount. You're also not sure, again, if a 5% discount is enough to convince the majority of your users, right? What about those who are willing to subscribe for 10%? Or what about those that read less than 3 articles per month, but are probably willing to pay you if you brought it down? And so the solution to that has been so far A/B testing, or again, machine learning personalization. And there's a few challenges there with that, right? One is you have to test only a limited number of things at a time. Whether it's an A/B or even an A/B/C test, you're still running 3 different things at a time. In this example, you're running 0 free articles versus 3 free articles. You're leaving out, 1, 2, 4, 5 free article tests. You're also comparing a 5% discount versus a 10% discount. You're leaving out everything again in between those and beyond the 10, let's say. And you're not testing them. You're perhaps testing them at the same time, but you're testing them to different people or at different levels. And even then, you're still kind of getting inconclusive results. Knowing that 3 free articles converted 65% better, or that 5% discount converted 70% better, really actually what it definitively is saying is that this is not going to work for everyone. It's just going to work for the majority. And even if you're using machine learning as well to kind of get a conversion score or a likelihood score, you still have to create all the collateral and all the different checkout flows and experiences around it to optimize for each one. And usually what you end up doing is, again, limiting it to 1 or 2 different experiences based on the percentage likelihood. So what do we actually want to do as marketers? Well, I think the reality of it is, and what we can all agree on, is that the ideal scenario is if we understood every user deep enough and could provide each and every one of them with a unique experience that's most likely to get them to convert while still optimizing our revenue. So what does this look like? Well, in an ideal scenario, you have, let's say, for example, user A is getting no free articles, an email capture, and a 10% discount. User B is getting 2 free articles, a registration in exchange for a 5% discount, and user C is getting more free articles, less committed capture of a job title, let's say, and a 0% discount. And this isn't just happening, again, as an A/B or an A/B/C test. This is happening to every single user on an individual level to optimize, again, for the experience. So this is great, but to do this, you'd probably need to configure and create, and if even possible, to target it at that level of personalization. Well, and it wasn't up until this point. So to avoid creating collateral for each one of these experiences, to really still personalize that experience and give users different flows without having to create very custom workflows, what AI technology now allows us to do is actually, instead of creating these things, is just providing a prompt to say, for example, I'm willing to give X free articles. I'm between, let's say, 0 and 10 free articles. I'm willing to capture an email newsletter sign up and a registration in exchange for anywhere between a 1 to 20% discount, and anything else that you want to add. And what this does is then the paywall can configure an experience for each and every user. And so it can be a lot more fluid. So your next question is, what is this going to look like? Well, I think about 8 years ago now, we really kind of changed the industry using JavaScript. We took the old landing page forms and put them on JavaScript. We put everyone on the same page. You could go through the checkout experience without ever leaving the page. And our data and our clients have seen tremendous results as a result of this shift. This is probably going to be no different, if not even more revolutionary, where we're now looking to move from JavaScript-based kind of static forms to chat-based paywalls and checkout experiences. And so you can get a sense of the idea here, where a user is moving from, again, even now this advanced form and structure that's on the same page and optimized for the user, to a chat-based structure where not only can they just simply enter in what they need, but now they can personalize their flow and take it in the direction that they want. And even more importantly, and again, one of my favorite features here is that you can use voice to actually fill out all your forms or go through the entire process and chat to get what you need through voice. And so if you haven't tried, let's say, for example, ChatGPT's voice control, you won't really understand how great this experience is. So I recommend after this video, you definitely check that out and try it out. Forget about Siri, forget about Alexa. Again, this is a completely different experience where it understands you way better. It's a lot easier to go through and have this conversation and go through the process and get the promotion and make the purchase and register and sign up all through voice control very quickly, as if you're on a quick phone call for 5-10 seconds filling this information. So this is also one of the ways we're looking to improve that. But back to our main point, as well as why chat's also great, is that it can actually now use prompts or prompt the user to take an action and give these promotions without needing to create different collateral. So you don't need to program every single flow and design and structure. What the GPT can now do, and what this AI paywall and checkout flow can now do, is say, okay, user A, I'm going to message you how many articles you have left, and I'm going to provide you with a 10% discount, and there's no collateral needed there. It's kind of text-based prompt, or again, JavaScript in the middle for any kind of registration or payments that still need to happen securely. But otherwise, you could go through this entire experience, and you can see here how you can go from a 0 free articles to 2 free articles and a 5% discount to a 0% discount and 5 free articles, all very flexibly and no collateral needed. And so this gives a lot more power to automation, and now opens up for the first time a level of personalization that could not have happened before. As again, you can see from all these different examples, different users, even talking to the same or different companies. So what do we usually do with new projects? Well, we love to share kind of our development structure and our ideas very early on. It's one of the reasons, again, we're going to be making more of this content, is to get more feedback and kind of open it up for those who really want to be invested in working closely with us to actually test this, try it out on their website, and be involved in the development process even. And so the way our process usually works is we start with kind of a structuring and training phase. And then we do a testing and evaluation phase on a website. So it's usually a little bit of a trial there. And then we open it up and provide the actual release on the platform, which you can then actually use on an ongoing basis and still get updates and be involved in what those updates are and how it's prioritized. So the way we usually work is, again, and giving you an idea of how some of this is structured, is we start by really understanding our customers, our partners, our prospects' needs in terms of what targeting they care about, what type of triggers they care about, whether a user is inactive for a certain period of time, for example, or certain article tags or features are utilized or clicked. Some of the promotions they want to run, the metering options and the gating options, as well as any data collection they care about, or again, anything else that's relevant to them. For this one, we spend usually about 2 months on. After that, we usually move on to phase 2. In this phase, we're doing a lot of internal testing. We're kind of giving you access behind the scenes. And we're working towards getting to launching a small group of users as soon as possible. We're working with you to compare the results so you can see for yourself, or again, make any adjustments and retraining the model as needed so that you're more comfortable if everything is working and being personalized properly and you're seeing those results. You can test them out on more and more to a larger audience until you're comfortable targeting everyone. So again, giving you an idea of some of these experiences, we're looking at creating a paywall and checkout flow that's very personalized on an individual level without really any collateral customization or any design customizations. You give it a prompt and you give it guidelines, and it's running through these tests and optimizing and using reinforced training and learning to perfect its targeting capabilities to optimize for these conversions. We're changing the way the entire paywall and checkout and payment flow and registration flow experience is done by relying on chat, both voice and text-based chat, to get rid of those old structures and introduce new strategies that make the user fill out their information easier and be able to personalize payments a lot easier for them as well and their payment options. And the last thing here is with regards to time switching CTAs is to avoid any type of fatigue by making sure that users get very different offers or different promotions or different paywall strategies. And that's where you can see on the left here, there's a 5% discount and it's encouraging them to, visit some more content, versus on the right-hand side, it's giving them a one-time 10% discount for 10 minutes if they subscribe now. And so this avoids the fatigue. Now, I said in the beginning, I'd kind of share with you how Netflix uses this and how you've probably experienced this. If you've ever kind of opened up Netflix, disappeared for a little bit, reopened it again, you'll see that the images of the shows and kind of the cover art for the shows and the movies, they kind of change on a frequent basis because what they've seen from the research is that you're probably judging it by its cover. And so changing that cover, changing that call to action really makes it different and gets you to click on it. This is not just unique to Netflix. Facebook ads uses this, Google ads uses this, where they're constantly changing and trying new images on an ongoing basis because it's showing that you're more likely to actually click on that call to action. And so it's increasing that likelihood, and it's refreshing not just per user, but multiple times per individual user to optimize for that revenue structure and the bottom line for your company. And so we're running kind of this paywall and checkout initiative. Again, if you're interested in being a part of this, if this is something you want to be more involved in, or you have feedback to provide us with, we're always happy to listen, be involved, schedule some calls and have some further conversations. And so you can reach out to us at any time through pelcro.com, or you can also email me at andrew@pelcro.com.